This week in Jamaica Now, reviewing the developments in the Patrick Powell case, how his firearm file went missing from the FLA, and he's issued a license for a weapon a policewoman owns. Jamaicans to go to the polls in a local government election on November 28. A peaceful protest. Stakeholders demonstrate at Jamaica College against child violence, and more school tragedy. A student drowns at the YMCA pool, and a teacher collapses and dies in Clarendon. I'm Damian Mitchell, and this is Jamaica Now. Jamaicans are to head to the polls on November 28 in the country's 16th local government election. Nomination day is November 11. More on that story in a moment, but first, the Firearm Licensing Authority, the FLA, is now scrambling to determine whether it can again compile a file for businessman Patrick Powell after the main one went missing from the agency. The revelation of the missing file was made on Tuesday, a week after Patrick Powell was freed of the murder of schoolboy Kajil Mays. The Director of Application and Certification at the FLA, Deidre Mullings, told a parliamentary committee that the firearm regulator is trying to assemble records at the office which made up the missing file. And police investigators have reopened their probe into the discovery that in 2004, businessman Patrick Powell and Manchester Police Inspector Patricia Primrose Powell-Wallace were both issued a license for the same firearm, a Walther 9mm pistol. The head of the Crime Portfolio, Assistant Commissioner Elan Powell, says already investigators have started reviewing the firearm records to determine the true owner of the pistol, although a 2011 probe revealed that there was no relation between Patrick Powell and the cop.
Who is the rightful owner of the firearm? When was it issued? By whom was it issued? And whether or not there's a connection with both individuals or there is none. So we're doing all that investigation.
Meanwhile, the Firearm Licensing Authority has sought to explain why it did not revoke Patrick Powell's firearm license after the police made the request in 2011. Former FLA Chairman Errol Strong said the police did not provide a supporting witness statement, and so the agency did not pursue the matter, opting instead to await the outcome of Powell's trial for failing to produce his firearm for inspection. But Assistant Commissioner of Police Elan Powell says a comprehensive report was submitted to the FLA, including the discovery that a spent shell found at the scene of the Kajil Mays murder matched others found at the scene of a double murder in 2007. There was more school tragedy this week after a female teacher of the Spanish Town High School in St. Catherine collapsed and died at a workshop in Mapen, Clarendon on Friday. 2 days earlier, a 14-year-old Arden High School student drowned at the YMCA pool in Kingston, where he had been working as a volunteer. The incident came amid grief at several corporate area schools, reeling from violent attacks against 8 students in less than a week. In one of the incidents, 14-year-old Jamaica College student Nicholas Francis was stabbed to death in an attempted cell phone robbery. It's now all hands on deck at the Electoral Office of Jamaica, the EOJ, as electoral officials rush to prepare for the November 28 polls. Police, soldiers, and election day workers will vote on November 25. Vacation leave has been cancelled at the EOJ, and staff are now working overtime, including Saturdays and Sundays. The chairperson for the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, Dorothy Pine McClarty, says with only 3 weeks before the polls, the EOJ now has about 80% of the required number of election day workers.
It means lost sleep for many nights. I mean, people have told me, I've seen for myself. As of now, Duke Street, they'll be down there until midnight, at least, for the rest of November. But they will get it done.
Meanwhile, the local government minister says the Jamaica Labour Party will be seeking to increase its control of parish councils. The People's National Party, PNP, controls all 14 local government bodies. PNP President Portia Simpson Miller says the party will be campaigning on its local government track record as it seeks to maintain its domination on the local authorities. And what's at stake for both major political parties at the local government polls? Political commentator Kevin O'Brien Chang says the PNP has more to lose from an election defeat than the ruling JLP. Mr. Chang also says a defeat would again call into question the leadership of party president Portia Simpson Miller.
So the JLP loses, they will say, wow, to be a surprise, most people think they'd win, but they'd still be in control of the government, But it would embolden the PNP because the JLP only has 1 seat advantage. So the PNP was to win this. They say, okay, we can topple the government anytime, and they will try to catch them when, they'd have people shot in parliament or something. So that's a scenario that could play out. So there's a risk for both sides, but I would say the PNP has the bigger risk.
And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. You may tune in to Power 106 FM for regular updates. Follow us on Twitter at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. I'm Damian Mitchell, and before we go, a peaceful protest at Jamaica College to send a loud message against child violence.
There's absolutely no way we could see a child and an adult attacking a child like that and people sit around. There's no way in the past we could have that done until he kills the child. Those people that's in the bus has to live with that for the rest of their life. And it's a sad thing. Jamaica is not the Jamaica like we had before, and my heart leaves.
Nicholas Francis must not die in vain. And his death is representative of every other child who has lost their life to violence in our country. And so we will be meeting with a select team from the government as we share with them the considered approach that we think needs to be considered. And we will be coming back to you as a nation to let you know how those discussions are going. You will see on the various banners that we have that this is Jamaica, land we love. But ladies and gentlemen, if we don't take a stand, it cannot be Jamaica, land we love.